Echo 5, do you copy? Echo 5.
Echo 2, good morning. Nice of you to drop by.
Feeling alright, sir? Thought we lost you.
Right now, I feel like I could take on this whole podcast myself.
I know what you mean. Ready to send that transmission to Echo Base?
Yes, sir. R10, patch through.
Welcome to the Hoth Transmissions. This is Echo 2 with...
Echo 5, hello, everyone.
Alright, guys, so welcome to our first episode, which we're going to be discussing The Mandalorian. Season 2. It's crazy that it's here, that we're already on Season 2 already. First season was pretty legit, so we'll be getting into discussion with that a little bit later. But right now...
We'll do a recap because we hadn't jumped on the ball on the podcast until now, so we'll cover 2 first.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of a little frozen here with negative 61 degrees Celsius here on Hoth, so...
Yeah, a little caught up.
We're starting
about some probes being in the area.
So we're defrosting a little bit. And speaking of probes, they're bringing us some rumors from the HoloNet. As you guys are all familiar, EA is basically taking control of most of the Star Wars games. I think they have like a direct contract with Disney, specifically that they're the ones in control of it. And so the rumors right now is that they're working on another game. When that's going to be released, not sure. Could be Jedi Fallen Order 2. I don't know if it's in addition to that. Haven't really done too much research into it. But I've also seen a couple other rumors that they're going to be rebooting the Force Unleashed. So, but I take that one with a grain of salt because I haven't heard any like too much detail. It hasn't been floating around too heavily. So I think that's just some rumors that are just jumping around the internet. And I know everybody's excited for the Obi-Wan TV show. That's going to be coming out.
Oh, yeah.
That's supposed to be starting, I believe, in March 2021 is when they're going to begin filming. I know that Ewan McGregor came to the set of The Mandalorian, and they handed him the box, and it had his old costume in it, and he got pretty excited. I do know that the series is, I want to say I know for sure it's going to be 1 season. I'm not sure how many episodes. I think it was like 8 episodes they were promising.
I wonder if you'll ever actually get off planet or if you'll stay on Tatooine the whole time.
I don't know. That's actually been some questions that I've been having.
I'm sure he'll do.
Because I know George Lucas has mentioned that Obi-Wan did leave on occasion. I don't think he left too often, but...
Well, his main goal is to watch Luke, so...
Yeah. So maybe Luke goes on vacation with Brew and Owen, and so he's like, yeah, I'll go take a vacation myself.
Hey, there you go. That's a good idea. Yeah. I want to see some cool reveals like we saw in the Rise of Darth Vader novel back in the day.
Oh, dude, yeah. Where he's like sitting at the end.
Sitting there having a drink in the bar, and he sees a HoloNet news up there, and he sees that he sees Darth Vader. Sees this new Darth Vader appear as leader of the Empire, and he falls over with his drink, and the guy next to him's like, "Are you all right, man?"
Dude, that'd be pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie. I would like them to pull that same scene from it.
I'm sure that I guarantee you they'll have something connected to that. That'd be really cool.
Oh, absolutely. But let's get into The Mandalorian. As much as I'm excited for Obi-Wan, as we get closer, we'll do an episode on some of our predictions, and we'll discuss some of the news and stuff that unveiled as we get closer. So this last Friday, okay, before we even get into it, just want to let you guys know there's going to be heavy spoilers in this. So if you had not watched the episode, then this is your warning. But if you haven't watched it yet, get on it, because there are some really exciting things in the episode.
Start off with a bang, man. It was good.
Dude, yeah. So
kind of felt like a little. I thought it felt like slight. It kind of reminded me of the second episode of the first season, where
Okay.
it kind of felt a little bit like filler, but at the same time, it was super engaging. There was a lot there. The characters revealed, like some of the goals in the episode they were really exciting.
Oh yeah, especially with the start of the episode. Like, what was he's I forget what planet he's on, but he's meeting up with Gor Koresh in the Gamorrean
Yeah, the Gamorrean
fight.
fight. So the
I just thought
WWE
it.
Star Wars.
I know pretty much.
That was awesome.
I thought it was really cool because like he's just walking up and setting up a complete ominous setting. I want to say those were the Fear Knocks that.
I was gonna ask you about that. Is that what they're called, the Fear Knocks in Rebels?
Yeah, that's what they're called. They're like
For
the
sure.
little
I think
creatures with the red eyes that hid in the shadows,
Nice.
and so we do know Dave Filoni's got a hand in the Mandalorian, so I wouldn't be surprised if he.
Well, they have the
brought in
Lethal
some.
Cats. They have the Lethal Cat making an appearance on the 4th episode.
That's right.
Of
That's
season
right. The
1.
Love Cats. I
So
forgot about that.
that's why I was thinking that that's what they were.
Yeah, we didn't really get a good look at them.
What were they?
Other
What were
than
they
the
called
eyes.
again, Mark? What was that name?
I believe it's pronounced Fear Knocks.
Fear Knocks. Okay, like as opposed
It's
to Michael.
spelled Fyrnock.
Fear. Okay, got it.
And so I just thought it was really cool.
I was actually looking. I meant to look that up before we started this because I was. That's the first thing that came to my mind was that episode when they were at the old Republic base from the Clone Wars and with the old abandoned gunships. That was cool.
Oh yeah, that was super cool. So what did you think of the whole meeting with Koresh? Like, you got this guy that's got information for Mandalorians because he's hunting them for a very specific reason.
Yeah, for his Beskar.
The Beskar armor, yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that they used that weapon again when that takes out like 4 or 5 people at once. That was
Oh
fun.
yeah.
And then you see Baby Yoda press. It was in the trailer too, where he's in his cradle and he presses the button, then he shuts and he kind of crawls in. It's like real cutesy.
And then he just kicks him away. It's like, all right, get out of here.
Yeah,
Adult business going on.
That was good. That was really good. I thought it was cool how the Gamorrean guards, you saw that their axes had some type of like vibro power or something, and they weren't just simple axes, like I thought they were in Return of the Jedi when they you see them in Jabba's palace. I thought that they're just like simple axes, but it was kind of cool to see they have like this power, this vibro blade kind of style to them. It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of that started off with, if I don't, guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time I ever saw anything with like vibroblades or anything like that was in Natural Republic, and so I've been seeing a lot of vibro technology being put into the new canon that is staying on, which I think is really cool. And for anybody that wasn't familiar, John Leguizamo actually played Gor Koresh.
You know what's funny is I thought he was Jon Favreau at first when I first saw the trailer. Then when I saw the episode, I thought it was him again. But as he continued to talk, I was like, I don't know if that's Jon Favreau. But then I thought it was Jon Favreau just using an accent, and then I realized it wasn't him.
What did you think of the character, though? A little Cyclops character.
Oh, he was good. You know, he was actually kind of creepy looking, man. I love how they use like real people in this. I like how he's got like a real like rubber looking mask. Like it looks like it's straight out of the original Star Wars, except it's like newer cameras, and the quality is obviously a lot better because it's an updated show, but it's got that same kind of original feel. So he looks and feels like a real person. So I actually thought he looked kind of creepy. He had that Cyclops look to him.
Oh yeah, and just his whole personality. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm being quite fond of Beskar because the value is rising, which is kind of interesting. Like the first season, Mandalorian or Mando, Din Djarin, he's being hunted basically because of the child, and now I feel like season 2, everybody's trying to get the Beskar. I wonder if that's gonna be like a theme or if it's just a momentary thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I like how he knew that Mandalorians are good for their word, and he told him he would tell him the location of the Mandalorian if he promised not to kill him. And then he told him,
Oh,
he's like, I promise you will not die by my hand.
I thought that was clever.
But then he obviously, you know what happens. It was good.
Dude, I'm Din Djarin this whole episode is just I'm just in awe with just how the character like just
He's clever,
unfolded.
man. He's
Extremely like
super clever.
I love that they took a spot from the first season, like when he's like, oh, you're outnumbered 4-1. I like those odds. And
Yeah.
then now he's got like 5 or 6 guns like pointed at him, one right under his chin. So it's like, okay, all right. I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, so how's he gonna get out of this? And then you just see those little rockets that he has. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna end well for them.
Yeah, that was really good. And what did you think about them going back to Tatooine again?
I actually liked it for the reasons they did. I liked it. I wasn't exactly sure how much I actually liked Haley Motto. I'm not exactly sure how to say her name. Um, her character seemed a little goofy to me.
Oh,
and then
I kind of like her because she looks like someone straight out of the late '70s, the New Hope era. Is like the New Hope Tatooine kind of style, like the way that people looked with the big sideburns and the crazy hair, because it was obviously filmed in the later '70s or mid '70s and came out in the later '70s. I kind of like that they kind of kept that goofy kind of look for the Tatooine people. I thought it was kind of fun.
And personality.
Yeah, and she's a little crazy. I thought it was kind of fun, and obviously, you know, I don't know if you're ready for the conversation this one, but it was pretty cool to see R5 again.
Oh, dude, yeah, R5 is dope.
And I don't know if you noticed, they kind of zoomed in on the explosion point where he his motivator went off.
That's right, yeah.
That was cool.
It's hard to find good help these days. R5, hurry up, take your time,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
I just noticed.
Actually, according I forgot the name of the book, but supposedly, he was a hero because he sacrificed himself so that way R2 could complete the mission.
Oh yeah, I heard that. It was like one of the comics or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was canon, but
I don't know that it was either, but it's just
that was, yeah, fun little legends fact.
Sure.
Yeah, as soon as I saw R5, I was like, this episode is like full of Easter eggs.
Yeah. Fun. Even the pit droids are like really goofy, like they were in Phantom Menace. More the
goodness.
Yeah. That was pretty goofy. It was fun because it still continued the theme of the whole Tatooine goofiness. It gives something for kids. I mean, it's kind of fun.
I think that's one thing that I like about the pit droids is because like you see in Tatooine, it's like there's pretty much the armpit of the galaxy.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple other places, but I mean, like, you talk about Mos Eisley, it's like, oh, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. And so you got like this planet that's just like, you just kind of like, okay, it's rough. You got the Tusken Raiders that are nomads and raiders. Then you got these
the Cowboys,
goofy pit. Yeah, and then you got these goofy pit droids.
Yeah, it's like 19th century America, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. The whole Western. I like how R5 had a map of Tatooine. I like how we got to see a map of Tatooine, and they threw in, here's Mos Eisley, and then they threw in Mos Espa, which is where, of course, Anakin Skywalker was, and where he grew up in Phantom Menace. The place we visit in Phantom Menace. That was fun.
Yeah, man, yeah. This whole episode just had tons and tons of Easter eggs. Like almost every area they went to was pretty heavy with it. So I actually thought he was gonna leave the child with her again. I didn't think he was actually gonna take him with him, but since he's on the hunt for another Mandalorian, so he's like, yeah, I'll bring the kid with me.
It's funny. My brother had texted me before I saw this episode, and he told me that I asked him what he thought about it, and he said the episode started off with a bang, and he said he was very excited, and then he said he felt let down, and then he said he felt by the end of the episode he felt extremely excited again, and that's related to the Boba Fett reveals, because when he gets into the town and you see
the big letdown with Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, exactly. With Cobb Vanth,
Okay, so before we jump on to this next bit,
yeah.
when you got into this episode
Mm.
and you knew they were going back to Tatooine, and he was looking for Mandalorian,
I was just gonna say that.
What was your expectation?
Obviously, Boba Fett. I was just about to bring it back to that and come back.
Even with the rumors of Bo-Katan, you thought I was thinking she might actually be there, or maybe even Sabine, because there was rumors of Bo-Katan and Sabine showing up at some point.
I was thinking of Boba Fett because of the end of episode 5 in season 1.
Oh yeah, the cowboy character walking
Yeah.
up with that one. I forget the character's name. I think it was the chick from Agents of Shield.
Yeah. I don't remember her name either. But I thought that was there was kind of that speculation that could be Boba Fett, and obviously it makes sense. I was just thinking simply that obviously the last place we saw Boba Fett was in Return of the Jedi, and then there was the legend stories of him surviving the Sarlacc pit. I thought it was going to kind of go into that, and which obviously we'll get into that conversation. But
there's been like tons of rumors, like even when Battlefront 2 came out, they had a bunch of stuff with Boba Fett, and they kind of hinted that he was alive. I don't think that they were exactly hinting at that point, but I think they had plans to at least do something with the character.
Well, that's what I like so much is they're not just like, oh hey, Boba Fett's back. They've been kind of toiling us around in this show. The possibilities. It's been fun.
They did toy around with us, and that's what I thought was comedy. Is when we get to Mos Pelgo.
Yeah, Mos Pelgo.
Jordan just is just walking through the town, and it's really cool. Side note, it's really cool to see Sam Witwer just kind of like have that little awkward thing where he's just sitting there just watching Mando walk through the town and just kind of gives him like this look.
Yeah.
But then he gets into the town and he's like, all right, I'm looking for another Mandalorian. And Weequay is like, we don't get too many visitors. Like, oh no, the guy looks like me. Oh, you're talking about the Marshal. I'm like, okay. So if it's Boba Fett, I'm like, did he kind of like just stop his ways and just become like a little protector of the little village, or what? And,
well, I was thinking too, if it's Boba Fett, is he going to just join the Mandalorian? They can't just drop Boba Fett, or are they going to? I don't know. I was really curious what they're going to try and do.
Well, I was watching with my cousin, and when the Marshal walked in, I was like, all right, this guy is a little too skinny to be Boba Fett.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's where the letdown came with your brother, and I was kind of let down at that point too. I was like, I'm like, that's confirmation he's dead. The armor.
But you knew it was his armor though.
Yeah, because as soon as he put the helmet down, I'm like, okay, I've got to see that little
the little ding,
little ding.
All the logos too.
And the logos, and there's like this little what is it called? Like little lighting on, I want to say the left part of the chest that wasn't. I don't remember ever seeing with Boba Fett.
Yeah.
All these little blinking lights or words or whatever, and so when I saw that scene, I was telling my cousin, I was like, okay, maybe Boba Fett is alive. Maybe he just kind of like settled down and give up his bounty hunter ways and just like living out the rest of his life somewhere.
But like you said, he was too skinny to be Tamara Morrison.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm talking about, okay, so you see the armor, and then I was like, okay. Then the guy takes the helmet off. I'm like, okay, either Boba Fett's dead or he just got rid of the armor and just decided to settle down and give up his bounty hunter ways.
Which is another conversation I want to ask you when we get a chance. But I'm curious, why does he not have the armor if he's there? How do the Jawas end up with it? That's going to be interesting if we hear that story.
So it could be one of two things. He had his jetpack, and we know Han Solo had it. So one, it could have malfunctioned. Maybe that was his last effort to get out of the Sarlacc pit, and he lost control. Maybe hit his head, knocked out, wakes up, his armor's gone.
Well, it has that malfunction in it.
Mm-hmm.
Which was his downfall with the Han Solo Boba Fett, and then he hits that spot and he goes flying. And then of course they did that later in the episode, which was fun.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it was good.
So, for those of you guys that have read Aftermath, Cobb Vanth is actually a big character. I wouldn't say big character, but he started in there.
Wasn't that flashback where you see it explode and they're hanging out at the bar? Wasn't that actually in the book of Aftermath?
I haven't read the books completely, so I can't confirm that. But if it is,
I haven't read
really
the book.
cool.
I just read somewhere that was supposedly a scene in Aftermath. I never read the book by Chuck Wendig, Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
But I
I
heard
read
that
the
it was,
I read the first book and I thought it was really well written. I need to jump on the other two and
yeah,
we'll come back to that and I'll confirm that
sure.
or we'll confirm it on our Instagram.
Yeah, there we go. Or we can always confirm it in the next episode. We do some research on
That
things we don't know.
that too. That too. So um so let's see, where were we? Yeah, so Cobb Vanth. So
Hmm.
I found the character actually really fascinating. I wasn't exactly sure what to think of him at the beginning. He's like, all right, well, I got this armor. I know all about the Mandalorian, so one of us isn't walking out of here. I just thought it. I don't know if
Yeah.
he thought it was going to be him or if it was actually going to be Din Djarin.
Yeah, he had to know he couldn't take Din Djarin, dude.
I think by the end of the episode, he realizes he can't.
So you think at first he thought he could, and then by the end he's like, okay, this guy's cooler
This
than me.
this guy's too badass.
This
I'm
guy's
not
legit,
going to be
man.
able to handle him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
What did you think of the armor? Like, okay, jump back to the whole Boba Fett surviving. It's like you look at the armor,
Yeah.
it's like pretty dinged up, pretty destroyed. So I
It's
wonder how
more.
long.
I actually went back and looked at Return of the Jedi again, and I looked through the visual dictionary,
Yeah,
and it's got a lot more dings on it, which is
which could
cool
be
because
could be the digestion from the Sarlacc.
that too. Actually, you know what? I think you're onto something, Mark. I think that he might have got launched out with his malfunction, or somehow got out and left the armor in there, because later we hear about the Sarlacc dying, and at
Oh,
least
that's
we
true.
assume that he died, and the Jawas could have scavenged what was left of the Sarlacc, and that's how they could have got the armor. I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating.
Okay, so I'm guaranteeing Boba Fett's the one that killed the Sarlacc.
I think that you're probably right that he killed the Sarlacc.
Yeah, so he killed the Sarlacc, got out. Armor was
Well,
dinged
I
up.
was wondering if he dropped the armor because maybe he thought, because he went into the Sarlacc pit the way he did in the first place, he felt unworthy of the armor and got rid of it. Or I think your theory is correct, that it has something to do with how he survived and killed the Sarlacc, and he got separated from his armor, and that's why we see him watching it at the end of the episode.
Yeah, he could have been tracking it ever since Mando got there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we know Boba Fett was never really a Mandalorian because of Jango Fett. Because we see in Clone Wars with when they go to Mandalore, they're like, I don't know how this Jango Fett acquired the Mandalorian armor, but he's not one of us or whatever, or something along the lines. And so, but we see in the show that it's more of an adoption thing. And so I wonder if he adopted the traits of the Mandalorians just because he wore the armor.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge character development for Boba Fett, because you see him in Clone Wars, he's kind of like this kid driven by emotion trying to kill Mace Windu, and then he meets up with Asajj. Asajj kind of gives him a little bit of guidance, and then same with Hondo. Hondo tells him, it's like, oh, your dad wouldn't want you on this path or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it'd be really cool to kind of see Boba Fett's personality as an adult. And as much as cliche as this is, I think I'd actually like to see a Boba Fett spinoff. Not maybe like kind of like Obi-Wan, like a one season, just so we can kind of see him in the height of his bounty hunter days.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really dope.
Yeah, that would be very cool. That'd be really cool.
So one thing I liked about Mos Pelgo is I really liked, like, this whole episode just had a complete Western vibe.
Yeah, had the whole cowboys and Indians thing, like where,
you
know, like kind of reminded me of, you know, Native Americans and cowboys, and Native Americans are the natives. They were there first, and the cowboys are like, oh, they're monsters, they're savages. You know, we can't work with them, and they kind of had that thing where like, well, you know, we work together, we can survive. We got a common enemy here, and
you got to.
Yeah,
But okay, so when they're in when they're at the bar with the weak way.
I had a question for you about that one, by the way.
Okay. When they're like get ready to do their little duel, and then the ground just starts shaking. And then you just see the ground just start caving in. What'd you think it was at first? My cousin at first, he's like, "Oh, the Empire's here." I'm like, there's no way the Empire. First of all, the Empire is gone, and I don't think there's gonna be that many speeder bikes. You see the speeder bikes in the trailer. I was like, there's no way that many speeder bikes can make that much of a vibration noise, or an earthquake essentially.
Yeah. I don't honestly, I don't know what it was. I thought it was some type of stampede, but that's not really something normal for banthas. So I kind of lost that idea real quick. I was thinking maybe there was like a Tusken Raider raid. Um, but then they were kind of showing in the show that the Tusken Raiders, you get to see their good side.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they would screw that up. So and then I thought Crate Dragon, because I unfortunately went on the internet before I watched the episode and I saw something on one of the comments. I just saw Crate Dragon. I didn't see like in what context. But I knew
Mm-hmm.
somehow Crate Dragon was going to show up. And then of course there's in some of the older comics like Boba Fett, there's Crate Dragons with the whole Mandalorian thing kind of meshed in, and I knew somehow they're going to fit a Crate Dragon. So I did think it was a Crate Dragon. Because of that, I kind of spoiled it for myself reading one of the comments, but you know, I did think at first it was some type of stampede, and then I was thinking like, no, this is where the Crate Dragon's showing up. I did not think the Crate Dragon was going to be that big though, because we see the Crate Dragon skeleton on A New Hope when 3PO's walk through the desert, and obviously the scale could be a lot bigger than we thought because he could be a lot farther away from that skeleton than we thought he was. But I thought it was. I knew it was big. I didn't think it was that big.
That could have been a baby one that we saw, and I also heard that
Sure.
there's two types of Crate Dragons.
Oh.
Um,
Did the Crate Dragon yell match what Obi-Wan did?
That's what I was looking. I was looking that up a little bit because
it sounded more like the original one before the special edition yell, or the one that got optimized when the DVDs came out. When they changed the yell to that different kind of crazy noise.
Well, I was watching that scene again before we got into our discussion, and it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay. Because I could hear the Crate Dragon sound from the original Crate Dragon sound.
Absolutely, yeah, it's closer to the first one.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. Thing about Cobb Vanth's speeder being Anakin's engine.
I was actually just going to talk about that. I thought that was really cool. Like I said, tons of Easter eggs in almost every scene. So
I was like, how the heck did he get Anakin's engine? Then I was like, oh, it's not Anakin's engine. It's just another Potter's engine. And then I could hear they had it was the same sound effect, the same exhaust thrusters, like the same like it was all the same deal. That was totally Anakin's Potter's engine. That's nuts.
It was so cool.
Yeah, that was clever. That was really clever.
And
also, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm just loving that Jon Favreau is head of this, because he's like such a Star Wars nerd.
Yeah, no, he was.
He's really like
awesome.
pulling, really pushing to throw a bunch of familiar stuff in there to get fans excited.
I love everything about the Tusken Raiders in this. I love how in the first season they show that they do the sign language. That was really cool. And then you get to see Din Djarin kind of explain that, the Sand People aren't all bad. There's another side to them. But I remember back when I saw Phantom Menace, after the originals, I was watching it as a kid and Phantom Menace came out. I remember playing this game before Attack of the Clones came out, Obi-Wan on Xbox. And you see Obi-Wan kind of go through these Tusken camps. And I remember thinking, how cool would it be to see Tusken camps in a movie or a future show or something like that? And I remember thinking it'd be so cool. And then we got them in Attack of the Clones briefly, which was really, really cool. But I always wanted more, and I thought it was super cool. We got to see the Tusken Raiders up in person. You got to kind of get to know them better. Same with the Jawas, of course, in season 1. But I love how they're just doing this in this show. They're going to these places we've seen a lot, and you can complain, oh, we've seen too much of this, but it's just cool to be able to explore them. I love exploring.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like we're going to the same places, like we're going to the same planets, but we're seeing more of like the creatures, more of the indigenous life, more of the
which is one thing, not to get too off topic, which is actually one thing I loved about Attack of the Clones when it came out, was we were introduced to, let's say, Naboo, and we got to see Tatooine again, and then we got introduced to Coruscant. I know Coruscant was in the Timothy Zahn trilogy first, but you got to really see it in a movie. And then when Attack of the Clones came out, we got to explore Naboo. We got to explore Tatooine more. We got to explore Coruscant with the whole chase and to go to the bar. I like that kind of stuff, and I love how in this episode got to go back to Tatooine, but we got to see more of it and just really get to explore and see the people more and get to it was great. And it was I like that kind of stuff, man.
Which is, speaking of, was pulled from the book first. The silicate crystals that Cobb Vanth steals.
Oh yeah, where he trades in the Jawas.
Mm-hmm. Those first appeared in the book Splinter of the Mind's Eye, that was written back in 1978.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so
that's what those are from, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
really
I thought
cool.
that was really, I thought that was really cool that they'd bring those in.
That is really cool. They did a lot of the Knights of the Old Republic also had the thing where they explained the or they had the pearl. They talk about how you can find a pearl inside a crate dragon and you can it's extremely valuable. And
yeah, I was actually gonna. I'll let you finish. I got a point after you finish your thought.
no, that's all I was saying. Just the pearls are valuable. I thought it was cool that the Tusken Raiders find it's pretty much the reason why their end of the bargain in helping to fight the Krayt dragons. They wanted to kill the Krayt dragon so they get the pearl. The villagers and Din Djarin, and I'm sure Din Djarin might have known, but Cobb Vanth and the villagers, they're like, okay, we don't really care about this. We're just happy the dragon's dead. But
Yeah.
it was, apparently they I'm sure you're probably going to talk about this right now. So they can power lightsabers like kyber crystals. Is that?
Oh, the silicate crystals? No, it was more like an organic material that they used to defend themselves from the planet's animal life.
Okay.
Um,
the pearl. I'm talking about the pearl.
Oh, I thought you were talking about silicate crystals. The pearl No, the pearl is just a very valuable item. So you get it pretty much rich. I mean, who can kill a Krayt dragon and obtain its pearl?
Yeah.
But what I was going to go back to, because you were talking about like playing the Obi-Wan game and going through the Tusken camps. It's another thing from Knights of the Old Republic. The Tusken Raiders basically hate all the people that are there, mainly because they're off-worlders and they're the original life. And so in the game, you can do two things. You can go in. You need to get something from them, so you can go in, kill them all, pull on Anakin, not just the men, but the children and women too. Or you can acquire. I think you acquire their Tusken armor, and then you go in. They find out who you are, and then you strike a deal with them. You have to do something for them, and then they give you what you want. And I think it might actually have to do something with the Krayt Dragon's Pearl. It's been a while since I played it, but I remember.
I know I haven't.
They
played
went hand in hand.
Such a long time.
And so it's really cool because this isn't canon, but it's really cool because if you go the light side route, you can talk with the Tusken Raiders, find out that they're actually decent set of being creatures on the planet. They were there first, and you find out that Tatooine used to be this luscious planet full of life and green and all this crazy stuff. And then off-worlders came, started mining, and completely destroyed the planet. And it became what it is that we see in the movies. And so the Tusken Raiders, that's why they always like have it. Why they always despise
for the settlers.
Yeah,
for
exactly. Colonizers, yeah.
Colonizers, yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
And so then we get into the whole aspect of them going to forge an alliance with these guys. It's like, okay, they get into this little canyon, and I thought it was really cool because we get to see the Massifs.
Yeah, the Massifs that we saw in Attack of the Clones. That's where they're
Attack of the Clones, yeah. And then Djarin just goes up to it and starts doing a Tusken Raider call, and then they just become like
submissive.
Like
that was great. Great.
And then Tuskens come out, and oh man, what do you think of the whole? I thought Cobb Vanth was going to screw up the whole alliance.
I loved how they developed his character. How he was kind of hard. He was real cowboy against these people and wanted nothing to do with them. And then by the end of the episode, he was actually yeah.
It's just because of his past.
Yeah, that's true. And he you know, in his defense, he was attacked by the Tusken Raiders too.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of when Kanan first meets the clones in, I want to say, season 2 of Rebels.
Sure.
He sees the clones as like, oh, these guys turned on the Jedi and killed them, and so he has such a big distrust for him. And
Did you
I
like
believe,
that? Yeah, that's good. I like those little parallels. It's fun.
and then Cobb Vanth is basically the same way. He's like, I'm protecting this town from these guys. And now you want me to
Yeah.
sit and partake of their little whatever flower thing that was.
Did you like the little? I like the little Zeb parallel from Rebels where they use him as bait.
Yep. Well, he
With the
wasn't
Tusken
intending to be
Raider.
bait. He used himself as bait on that one.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I just like that where the Tusken Raiders were the bait for the Krayt Dragon. It just kind of reminded me of that episode with Zeb.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think I made a note on the Instagram for that. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, yep, this reminds me of
Yeah,
a
that's
Zeb.
that's actually where you actually reminded me of that from that post. That's where I got that from.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it was funny. That was a nice touch. That was funny.
So
So
going into this episode, I wasn't really expecting anything to do with a Krayt Dragon, and so then we go through this whole episode, and then we get to like just this giant battle. We got the Settlers, we got the Tusken Raiders forming an alliance. They don't trust each other, but they've got a common foe. So they're like, all right, well, we promise that if you leave the carcass and you help us take this thing down, you guys will be protected from us.
Those Tusken Raiders have balls, man. They were basically the ones that kept coming up to the cave and checking to see if he was sleeping, and they're the one. If you notice, they're the ones that kept getting freaking killed.
Yeah, pretty much, because they're warriors, man. Like,
yeah, man.
They studied the Krayt Dragon for generations, which I thought was really cool. It's like, oh yeah, they studied them for generations, kind of like confirming their long history on Tatooine.
Yeah, that's good.
And so it was kind of cool to see the Tusken Raider go up there, and you just hear the breathing of the Krayt Dragon, and he's like listening on the ground, and then does a little sign language, and it's like, okay, all right, let's set up, guys.
Yeah. It's like he's still asleep. We're good. Touching the earth.
And I'm glad that they didn't make the Krayt Dragon go down as easy as other TV shows and stuff make, like this giant monster. It's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna kill him. All right, we know his weak spot. All right,
Yeah.
dead. But I like that it failed, and then Cobb Vanth and Djarin just kind of team up. They fly around.
Use their jetpacks.
I thought that was really cool.
It was cool how the Krayt Dragon was just toiling with everybody, and he would just go under. He'd show up in the mountaintop, and then he'd show up like behind them. It was fun.
The acid throw up or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, what the crap was that, man? That was nuts.
Is it digestive fluid? I want to say.
Oh my gosh, that was.
So
that
I thought
was
it was. So you see this dragon, not breathing fire, but spitting out poison.
How did you like how Din Djarin ended up taking him out?
I thought it was really cool. Like as soon as they got to the point, like as soon as they failed, and he's like, oh, then you see the bantha with all the bombs on it, and then I knew exactly what was gonna happen.
The first time I saw the episode, I didn't realize that's what happened. I was like, how? What? I was like, what? How did he flew into the beast? Like how did he kill him? And then the second time I watched the episode, I noticed. I was like, oh, the bantha with all the explosives.
Because it takes the detonator, and then I just thought it was. I thought it was really cool. It's like Krayt Dragon comes back out, and then you just see Din Djarin just fly out with all this electricity, just like shocking the Krayt Dragon, making him spit him out, and then boom.
Yeah. That was clever. Smart.
So overall, man, brilliant episode. I would really
the last shot was so epic, man. That was like poster worthy with Boba Fett just.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute.
Okay, I thought you were done. I was like, don't forget that last shot, man.
No. Because the main story is about the Krayt Dragon, and then we get that cool like end piece. But I'm not disappointed that we got an entire episode based off of Krayt Dragon, because it was, I think the episode was like 52 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it had a lot of story to tell, a lot of build up, tons of cool stuff, and then Din Djarin's just packing up this little piece of meat. Well, little piece of meat compared to the actual beast, but this giant thing that's probably gonna last them a month.
Sure.
And then the child's just sitting there on top of it, just eyeing it.
It's a big old chunk of steak right there, man.
And then, as promised, he gets the armor for taking out the Krayt Dragon.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was awesome.
and he's just flying away, or not flying away. He's just riding off into the sunset. And then, who do we see up in the cliffs?
Boba Fett. A lot of people. It's funny when you talk to people about that episode because they're like, "Oh, this is it's. How do you know it's Boba Fett? It could just be another clone." But
See, that's what I was thinking. It can't be another. There's only a couple clones that are alive during this time.
well,
Perceptively, maybe Rex. I don't know if he's
yeah,
still alive at that point because it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
but
Accelerated.
he's got it. Even though he could shave, he's got that signature beard that I think that if it was Rex, he would have the signature beard.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of tossing out that it's not Rex, is because he still has the accelerated growth,
I was just going to mention that.
and so
I think
I
they'd be a
would
lot older.
imagine he'd
Any
be
clone would be old right now at this point.
he'd be older than Boba Fett right now.
Yeah.
Then there's a other clone. I forget. I think it's Kix, but I think he's still still not
He has the growth accelerator.
asleep. Yeah, I think he's still in that cryo sleep or whatever he was put in, and so he doesn't get it taken out until kind of the sequel trilogy, and so the only other person has to be Boba Fett, and he's got
and it just adds up. I mean,
stick.
you have him watching the armor.
He's scarred.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
possibly scarred from the Sarlacc, and I'm
sure. Or from something else. We haven't seen him with his mask off. He's been through a lot.
This is true. There is a lot of backstory that we don't know about Boba Fett, and so he's wearing robes and armed with a Gadurki stick. So I wonder if he was with the Tusken Raiders, if he settled down with them, or if he just killed them and just took their stuff.
That'd actually be really cool to see. It'd be cool to see if he's actually a loner or if he travels with others.
Mm-hmm.
And what his purpose is now.
He probably just does what he needs to do to survive, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he probably just pulled like another Obi-Wan, just chilling on
Tatooine. Everybody just goes to Tatooine. All the important characters just settle down in Tatooine or in exile.
Because I would imagine that he'd have a way off because the Slave One would still be there.
Yeah. Oh man.
Depending on how long he was in the Sarlacc pit, it should still be there. And
wouldn't that be crazy if we see the Slave One again?
We got some upgrades the Rage Crest to the Slave. That would be really cool to see the Slave One again.
It's exciting. There's a lot of potential for these kind of shows. That's what's cool about them. And I was talking with some of my other buddies about this. Just the Disney Star Wars in general, they do a much better job with these side stories. Solo, Rogue One. We kind of talked about this in the last podcast too. Then the sequel trilogies, I think, were most the flack Disney gets. Everything else, for the most part, they've been doing a lot of really
pretty solid
for fans. And there's so many directions they could take with these kind of stories. Like so many things we can see that that we I don't know. It's exciting, man. There's a lot they can do.
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna be continuing to do these side projects. From I was reading somewhere. It's another rumor that they're gonna try and do a quarterly Star Wars release. But I do also remember. I also do remember hearing that they're going to be taking a step back a little bit and not releasing as much content.
Well, that's what it seems. I know we got the COVID thing going on right now, but we haven't had a movie in a while now.
Yeah, we haven't even heard anything really about Rian Johnson's trilogy or the other trilogy that they're promising us.
Well, look at. I mean, be honest with me. Like, what? I know that for each movie, you've been hyped for the most part for all the movies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the Disney movies. But now that they're out and now that the TV shows are out, which ones do you think were received better by audiences? I feel like these TV shows were. I feel like Clone Wars, that last season, and Mandalorian had a much better fan approval, a much higher fan approval rate than the movies.
Even
did.
Rogue One, Solo didn't have much, but I'm pretty sure because a lot of people are so disappointed with Last Jedi, and there's so much controversy. The fan base was completely split after that movie. And Solo came out just a few months after, and so everybody's just like done with it.
Burned out. Yeah.
And so
Just with that
Solo didn't
style,
get the
Disney style.
so Solo didn't get that appreciation that it should have gotten.
Yeah. Yeah. So most people I know at least enjoyed Solo. I mean, not that it was their favorite movie, but most people I know actually had a good time watching it, enjoyed it, and would recommend it. Of course, I thought Rogue One was really good. Of course, it's the last. Yeah, I think the thing with Rogue One though is that it was just that last 30 minutes that was super epic. But
yeah,
I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie out there. I know I've heard people that have said it's one of their favorites, which it is very good. But it was that last 30 minutes. But I don't know. So far, Mandalorian. I'd say Mandalorian and the Clone Wars last season have been my favorite so far.
Oh, absolutely. I was talking with my buddy Logan last night. We were playing Warzone, and so we got a little bit of discussion on Star Wars, and Clone Wars came up, and he was like, "Oh, dude, what do you think of the last season of Clone Wars?" He's like, I seriously thought it was like the perfect way to end the whole Clone Wars series.
There wasn't a better way. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's just Vader going down onto that ice planet, grabbing Ahsoka's blade, and assuming she's dead.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know. My favorite episode. I know we're not here for this. We can have a Clone Wars discussion, but
oh yeah, we'll get into an in-depth on that later.
My favorite episode of the entire Clone Wars series now is the second to last episode of the series. The one where Order 66 takes place. That was freaking amazing.
Well, I consider those last 4 episodes like one episode.
It's like it was like one movie.
Actually, a bunch of I was just about to say, I'm like, there's some fans that actually took it and put it into a movie format.
Yeah, the Siege of Mandalore. That was the best. I don't know. There is a lot of other good arcs, and we can talk about those when we have Clone Wars discussions. But oh man, that last arc was amazing. But
I do agree that Disney's side projects tend to be a little bit more successful than their main stuff.
And they're not. I would say they're not flawless, but they've got some of the best Star Wars content in them.
Well, and that's one of my arguments with like TV shows. Why I think they're a lot more successful with the TV shows because they can take more time to tell a story. When you jump into a movie, say you got a trilogy, each movie's got a focus, and so you got to find a beginning, a middle, an end, and something that's gonna really draw people in. And so even with these films, like people, like even after The Force Awakens, like there's so many questions. Fans were getting so impatient, like, oh, who's Rey? Who's Snoke? Who's this? And it's like, guys, we got a whole trilogy. And so in today's, I've noticed with like Hollywood, even if it's a trilogy, I found that they're trying to make each movie their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard to have individual stories in movies and tell a whole story at the same time.
Yeah. TV show. Game of Thrones kind of set because it was so popular, kind of set that standard and the new idea that this is a new way of telling epic storytelling. And I think that one cool thing about Mandalorian, one thing I like, and I hope it doesn't make this mistake, but one thing I like is that it only has 8 episodes and they're not ridiculously long. I think it's just enough to enjoy it and not to feel overkill. The only thing I fear about a good show like this is that it's going to carry on past like 3 or 4 seasons and kind of die off. I hope they just kind of end it because they have so many other projects they can do that I hope they just keep it cool, keep it exciting, end it after a couple seasons and move on to the next thing.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a series with a lot of seasons because even Dave Filoni mentioned he's like you don't want a series with too many seasons because then everybody feels like they have to catch up on too much, and so it's easier to jump into a series that only has a set amount of episodes per season and maybe only like 4 or 5 seasons. And it's like, okay, I can easily watch it and not feel like I'm being overwhelmed or trying to catch up to everything else.
With Mandalorian, it's the first season. It had its purpose, but I felt like it did feel a little awkward in the middle of the series. I know we could talk about that when we have more of a season 1, but just briefly, like episode 1 through 3 had a sole purpose of him rescuing the child. You saw that he was breaking away from his bounty hunter ways and had a conscience, and he's going from from capturing this kid and delivering him to rescuing him, to saving him, being him, and now and then it kind of seemed like it kind of lost, like it kind of slowed down with like episode 4, 5, and 6, and then it
And
picked up again in 7 and 8.
that was more like character development.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
people,
see that, and I get it has to happen. It just kind of felt like it just got it spiked on like episode 3. Episode 3 was absolutely phenomenal, and then just for me, I just felt like kind of plateaued for a while, and then it got cool again in 7 and 8.
well,
So I'm just hoping with season 2, seems like the purpose is him delivering this child to his people, and it's an awesome idea. I hope they don't keep beating it dead. I don't know. I hope they don't beat it to death. I hope they stick to the purpose and keep it exciting.
I thought they could tell a story.
Yeah. Which they kind of did show with this episode.
Because that's one thing that I've noticed with the first season, and it's like all the peak episodes that everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this episode was so amazing." It was because there was like tons of action and tons of other cool explosions and stuff going on, and then a lot of the episodes that kind of like developed the characters or told a little bit of story that might have been kind of a sad story. People were just kind of like put off just because it was the slow part, because it was just continuing the character development, and that's one of the things that people complained about with some of the characters in the sequel trilogy, is that there was no character development, and that this character just started off OP and never grew or anything like that. But with the Mandalorian, from the first episode up until the first episode of season 2, you see huge change.
Yeah.
You see a lot of changes because of the different scenarios and experiences. Like, he almost gave up, like that one time that he met that one chick. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's gonna stay," but he's like, "Nah." but you can see him wanting to. And so it's kind of, and so I think it was like all those side stories were just kind of little bits to kind of really develop his character and make him a little bit more soft than what he's supposed to be. I could be wrong, but that was just my take on it.
Well,
I just kind of like look at the stories.
I like a good story. I like good character development, but sometimes we do it like when I felt with episode 4. Sometimes when they do it, even when they're developing a character, sometimes the story, it feels, I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes it feels kind of flat. I don't know, like, because episode 3, it was big bang boom, guns, this and that, but it was adrenaline pumping because I was invested in the character from the other 2 episodes, building him up.
Yeah.
And it kind of got you to the point where he's now making a decision. He's like, he's kind of dropping off, and then he drops him off with the people, and then he's like sitting here thinking like, man, like, what am I doing? He's talking to the guy like, hey, what are you doing with the kid? And then just all the things they're kind of doing in that episode made you kind of like my heart started racing, like, oh man, this guy's about to go against the guild. This guy's about to go against the guild.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets in his ship, and then he's going to, you know what I mean? I just thought it was really cool. But you're right, like, because after all that craziness, he's kind of slow down, and maybe it's just because he met a new character that he just met, and now he's starting to fall in love, it seemed like, and I wasn't really sure where they're going with it, and then they kind of move on to another random journey on Tatooine, which was fun. I like the nostalgia part of it, and then of course episode 6 was just, here's another random mission.
Well, look at it from this point of view. Okay, so he went against the guild, and so now his first thing is, I got to get out of here. I got to go hide somewhere.
Sure.
And so then he gets to that little village, and he kind of like, oh yeah, I can settle here. I can hide here and whatnot. And then I think the point of that episode was mainly to show it's like, okay, he's on the run, but he can't settle anywhere. He's got to stay on the move.
Sure, because then they attacked him when he was there.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have gotten that little bit if he hadn't done. I mean, they could have done it a different way, but I think it was more effective the way they chose.
Because it showed that he was trying to just have a peaceful life with a kid. He's like, okay, maybe we can settle here.
Trying to just hide, and
he was going to leave the kid there too, and then basically, it didn't work out, obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. That's cool.
So
dig it, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, when I see things, like, I look at the story overall, just because I like to write and stuff. So when I get involved in something, it's like, okay, I can see how this is a filler. I sometimes would like, yeah, this is a filler episode, but I try to look at what they're trying to tell
in the filler
with
episode.
in the filler episode that's going to connect to the main story.
Which is another cool thing about Mandalorian, because even though I was kind of complaining the 4, 5, and 6 were kind of filler, but you are right that they still did have an angle that helped build the character up and helped bring him up to the end of the season, which made it even more exciting because you're even more in love with the character, and now you've got some partners.
Yeah, we got
Cara
Cardoon,
Dune,
which I'm excited to see again.
Sure.
The guild leader, their connection was rekindled, and he switched over to Mando's side, and they ended up all teaming up, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of exciting things with this show, with this episode. Can't wait till next season. I mean, not next season, next episode.
Yeah, me neither.
But that's going to wrap it up for our discussion on The Mandalorian's first episode. So for you, those of you guys that are listening, please subscribe so you don't miss out on our next discussion on the next episode of The Mandalorian. As always, you guys can keep up to date with us on our Instagram page and our other social media. Just check the description below for all the details. And also, we would like to announce we have released another shirt on our site. All designs will be a limited edition print, so don't miss out. We're also going to be answering questions, so be sure to email us at thehotspot@gmail.com. That way, you can send us email. We'll answer a couple questions every episode and give us a way to kind of interact with you guys. So, thanks for listening, guys. Catch you later.
See you guys. May the force be with you always.